A quick heads up before we get started. This episode covers some topics that might be unsettling to younger listeners. It's the kind of stuff you might learn in a high school history class, rather than in grade school history. You might want to listen to a different episode of Music Blocks if you're around younger ears. This is Music Blocks, a podcast about the building blocks that make up your favorite sounds, whatever you love to listen to. Protest music draws attention to serious problems. It can be uncomfortable to hear, and musicians have lots of ways to make a listener feel on edge. They could use an ominous tone to create a mood, and use percussion to propel the music forward.
They took our tongues.
And they can tell a story in their lyrics.
They tried to take our tongues.
In this song, Enoch singer Tanya Tegak tells a story about how colonizers tried to eliminate Inuit languages and traditions.
You can't have my tongue, Inuvunga.
She declares Inuvunga, which translates to I am an Inuk. And she includes Inuit throat singing. Through this story, Tegak confronts and condemns Canada's history of oppression against Indigenous people.
You can't have my tongue, Inuvunga.
Today on Music Blocks, stories of protest in music. You'll hear emotional vocal performances, poignant imagery in the lyrics, and tempos to get your blood pumping. A lot of protest music tells stories about broken promises. For the Australian rock band Yothu Yindi, the promise began as a treaty.
Well, I heard it on the radio, and I saw it on the television. Back in 1988, all those talking politicians.
They sing about how politicians promised to return land to Aboriginal peoples of Australia. But those politicians never followed through.
But promises can disappear, just like writing in the sand.
The drums and the guitars play syncopated patterns at a fast tempo. It adds to the intensity of the story. This song is a driving call for justice. Puerto Rican singer Andres Jimenez was fed up with problems in his community when he wrote this song. In El Pobre Sigue Sufriendo, or The Poor Continue to Suffer, Jimenez sets the scene with his lyrics. He tells the story of the rich, who have a yacht, an airplane, and a beautiful home. Meanwhile, Jimenez sings about how the people with very little money live high in the mountains and are consumed by working, producing, and suffering. He finishes the song by passionately crying out for change. Sometimes the most powerful form of protest is a collection of stories. That's what American singer Alinda Seguera, who performs as Hurray for the Riff, does in their song Precious Cargo.
Precious cargo at the river, me swimming just to get across. With the babies on my shoulder, grab my neck so they don't get lost.
Seguera speaks, instead of singing, to a beat. They want you to understand every word. Hear every detail of the story of the dangerous journey immigrants face on their way to the United States.
Split me from my family, now the light begins to fade. They took me to the cold room where I slept.
The music ends with a voice recording of the man who inspired the song, reminding the listener that this is a real person's story.
We came here to save our life. We know where we come from.
Canadian singer-songwriter Joni Mitchell used a more straightforward arrangement in her song, Big Yellow Taxi. The guitar is bouncy, almost joyful. But when Mitchell starts singing, the story she tells isn't really happy.
Paradise, put up a parking lot.
Mitchell uses imagery to tell little stories in her verses. She describes a scene of paying to see trees in a museum and of farmers using harmful pesticides.
Hey, farmer, put away the DDT now.
And her simple arrangement makes her words feel more direct.
Please don't, it always seems to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
Music can elevate stories about injustice through visual lyrics, emotional vocalists, and forceful beats. This episode of Music Blocks is almost over, so take a minute and think about how you might write a protest song. What story of injustice would you tell? Would you create loud, angry music to accompany it, or a quiet song asking for compassion? When you've thought that through, visit our website for a playlist full of all kinds of stories of protest. That's at musicblockspodcast.org. For Music Blocks and Colorado Public Radio, I'm Luis Antonio Perez.